Now, this video will be covering Sam Bankman-Fried's role in the crypto market, particularly as of late. Now, you may have been seeing headliners like this about how Sam Bankman-Fried has essentially been operating as the central banker for crypto. Now, we think this is a bit of a misnomer, and this is important because this is very much in contradiction with the ethos of Bitcoin and really crypto overall. In that, while Sam Bankman-Fried is operating as a market participant or a lender of last resorts, similar to how a central bank might, Sam Bankman-Fried does not, of course, have the ability to modulate monetary supply in the same way that a central bank can. And that is important because his involvement does not, it does not absolve him from being a free market participant, either him or FTX. And in general, what's the Sam Bankman-Fried has actually been participating in allocating to companies that have been struggling, and that who have larger holes in the balance sheet than any capital allocation that FTX or he or on an individual level are making can resolve. So, this is important because I think a lot of folks have been equating this to sort of the 2008 bailouts. It's very much not that. Um, there's no guarantee of these firms being bailed out. And as a matter of fact, even after FTX's or SBF's involvement in assisting with these balance sheets and these distressed assets, there doesn't seem to really be a light at the end of the tunnel. And a number of these firms are sort of headed towards possible bankruptcies. So we put together a few articles here that kind of explain how Sam's been involved in this, how FTX has been involved, and of course why it's not exactly the role that a central bank would play, as there are no guarantees of bailouts here. And of course, it's not surprising that SBF himself is taking the stance that the Fed is actually primarily driving this downturn. We would definitely stand by that. I think the data is fairly self-evident there. Most asset values are being depressed, of course, from real estate to equities to, of course, crypto. And this is actually one of the other key differences is that the Fed is having to go through a cycle of quantitative tightening that matches that of the QE that we experienced not too long ago. So that dynamic it these cycles of a QT and QE happen fairly regularly and for good reason. This is not the case, of course, for why Sam is even getting involved in the first place. This has more to do with systemic risk and keeping many of these firms that are very central to crypto, not necessarily essential for the functioning of crypto, but very central to it, afloat. And actually, in terms of central banks and SBF, Sam Bankman was featured on a Bank of International Settlements presentation, a webinar of sorts. And I highly recommend that you see this when you have a chance, and that particularly because the BIS is not only interested in crypto, but is actually engaging with some key figures in crypto to see how they can actually rectify the traditional financial system as well. So, as per usual, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thanks.